Welcome to another episode of the Mighty Code Coder. I am your Code Coder, here to make you great, help you innovate. Today we have a special presentation. We have a presentation called the Dichotomy of Learning. So let's get going. The dichotomy of learning is the fine balance between rigor and abstraction. All teachers would love to be extremely thorough when teaching their discipline. But if information comes too steep, students check out and fail to see the reason for the deep dive. Abstraction is the ability to encapsulate tough material into smaller, easy to understand chunks. If students can't make the connection between the understandable chunks and the rigorous information, they may not stay engaged. So how do we do it? First of all, let me demonstrate how a tough subject like electrical engineering would unfold to a student. If we start with rigor, we might need to set up the information with theory and lots of definitions. We need to get our head around tough topics like these. After we are done with all that learning, all we are left with is a top-level abstraction, a light switch. Not very motivating for students, especially when it's something even a baby understands. If this class is an elective, students probably would not choose it. Now let's look at computer science. But before we do, let's turn the learning upside down. Let's start with abstraction and end with rigor. However, let's take the bottom-up approach and talk about rigor first. What would rigor look like in computer science? Well, here's a partial list of items to learn. Fun, right? Polymorphism? What would it take to get a student's head around these topics? Well, problem solving for one. Computer science is a magnificent puzzle. If we want to discover what would it take to get our head around it, we would need to understand how the brain works. Abstracted, of course. To be a good problem solver, you need to use the right brain. Seen here with all the colors. The left brain is in the blue. You see, to solve problems, you need creativity, which resides on the right side of the brain. So we need to teach students to use this side and be creative. One problem, though, the right side of the brain is only awake late at night or in early mornings. Remember your dreams this morning? No, because as soon as the left brain wakes, it totally dominates the right side. And for good reason. The left is responsible for repetitive thought, like our state of being, our fight and flight response. Yes, this probably dates back to prehistoric times when you always had to be on alert for danger. The left needs to handle repetitive tasks like driving, always looking out for objects on the road or stop signs or pedestrians. It keeps track of time, so when you are driving from Los Angeles to West Covina, you remember to take the right off-ramp and don't end up in Palm Springs. The left is so repetitive, it doesn't have time to break out of its loop and search for creative solves. In fact, Coach Scalinas, the Hall of Fame coach from Cal Poly Pomona, once asked, "Do you know why the fly ends up dead on the windowsill? Because it never tries anything new. It just keeps trying to get out the same window until eventually it ends up dead on the windowsill." Basically, the left is our security alert, but if left on its own, it could also be our downfall. To problem solve, you need outside the box thinking, and that takes place on the right side. So what I want to do is to have students practice creative problem solving. And we can do that with software like BuildBox and P5.js, which are abstracted for ease of use. Code.org, with its app lab and graphical programming language, does the same. And TechSmart, with its expanded comment code, give the students verbal cues for the best problem-solving techniques. No theory, no code, and sometimes no code, just creative assistance, which helps the students become more confident in their troubleshooting and motivated to take on more rigorous topics. Thank you for listening. Leave comments and tell me where I am wrong or how I can improve the presentation. For now, remember, I'm always trying to make you great, helping you innovate. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time.